The Dallas Mavericks have just secured their first ever playoff series win in 11 years, and this was the first time they've won a series with Luka Doncic at the helm for this franchise, and let me just tell you, it's going to be the first of many during his long NBA career that already has superstar potential written all over it, with many potential NBA championships along the way as well in a couple of years. With the uncertainty of how the Mavs were going to play without their superstar, who missed the first 3 games of the series, Jalen Brunson stepped up to become the leader of this group and did a phenomenal job to ensure that the Dallas Mavericks would get yet another opportunity in the playoffs, where they are now going up against the Phoenix Suns in the second round. I'll go over that potential matchup later on in this video. I just wanted to first talk about how this series unfolded and go over the positives and the negatives of this series and what the odds are that they can beat an extremely talented Suns team who finished first in the NBA and just got their star shooting guard back in Devin Booker to close out the series against the Pelicans. Also, only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's free and it helps me out a ton. First off, hats off to Jalen Brunson. Like I just alluded to, this man has taken his game to a completely different level this playoffs and has been earning the respect from all over the league for his play, as he's a huge reason the team was in the position that they were in, taking a commanding 2-1 series lead, and that only set the Mavs up to be in the driver's seat for when Doncic came back to close out the series. He averaged 28 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, as he shot a cool 48% from the field and 36% from 3 in this series. Huge jumps from his regular season numbers, which is obviously phenomenal, and he has clearly evolved into being an incredible option alongside Doncic, which was something that was in question if he were to be a viable number 2 on this team, and I think this one series alone showed the potential that he has as a player, and he's only gonna get better individually from this point out. He's just 25 years old and has earned himself the opportunity heading into the summer in a contract year to give himself a payday that will set himself up for the rest of his life, and he fully deserves every single penny he's going to get, being a huge reason the Mavs won this series and can hopefully continue to build his chemistry and play alongside Doncic. The game last night for the Mavs was nowhere near pretty, as they were holding on for dear life in the ending of that game, especially in the final 5 minutes, but they did get the job done, and in the end, that's all that matters. We did get to see something out of this team that has the potential to become the norm in the next series that they play against the Suns, but we'll definitely have to see, because DeAndre Ayton is very good at taking advantage of smaller defenders, but the Mavs sent out a lineup in the second half last night that we only saw for a total of 15 minutes in the entire regular season. In Game 6, coming out of the half, Dwight Powell got pulled very quickly with just like 3 minutes into the third quarter, and this gave the opportunity for the extreme small ball lineup of Brunson, Doncic, Dinwiddie, Bullock, and Finney-Smith to get utilized, and they nearly notched the same amount of minutes in this game alone on the floor together than they did for the entirety of the season, and was actually the thing that ignited the comeback in this game. The tallest guy on the floor for this group was Finney-Smith at just 6'7", and why this group had so much success was because, yes, they did go small, but because of the size of Luka and Dinwiddie, it wasn't necessarily too small to the point where it became a huge mismatch defensively for them, since they are bigger guards that are the size of your average perimeter wing at 6'5" and 6'7". And the second thing that made this so effective defensively was the fact that Dallas finally has 2 reliable 3-and-D wings on their roster in Finney-Smith and Reggie Bullock, where Finney-Smith was primarily in charge of limiting Gobert, in which he did a great job, where he only gave up a few easy buckets down low, and since Finney-Smith was occupied with Rudy Gobert, this left Reggie Bullock the task to chase down Donovan Mitchell all night, and he as well did a great job with his role. In the third quarter, the Jazz only scored 19 points when the Mavs threw out this lineup, and Mitchell shot just 1 for 4, scoring only 3 points in the third, as this winded up being the switch that orchestrated the Mavericks' comeback in the second half. This will be a lot harder to achieve against the Suns, as everything about them is simply just better in comparison to the Utah Jazz, but what Dallas does have going for them is the fact that they do have the best player in this series in Doncic, who is looking to start off the series healthy, and whenever you have a guy like that on your team, anything is possible, as he can dive deep into his bag, as many people do know, and score 40 points on your head on any given night. The Phoenix Suns, though, are a defensively sound team with loads of depth on their roster, and it's clear Mikal Bridges is going to have one mission all series, and that's going to be to lock down Luka as best as he possibly can, fan, and being that he's one of the best defenders in the NBA, this is going to be a must-see TV matchup between these two guys that can inevitably decide the series depending on which one of them comes out on top. Luka has the ability to carry the Mavs this series, and that's quite obvious, and that's not saying that I think he will, because honestly I have no idea what he has in store for us, whether that be good or bad, because honestly playoff Luka is still something where he hasn't given us the craziest amount of experience just yet, so who knows, literally anything can happen. But going into this series, the Mavericks will be considered the underdogs, as the Suns have earned the right by showing us all season just how dominant they can be, and I know things looked a little shaky in the last series between them and the Pelicans, but don't let that change your opinion about this team, as I can assure you that they are going to use that series as motivation for them to tighten up every single aspect of their game and come out stronger because of it, as this might have just been the thing that wakes the Suns up for a potential championship run. What that series did show us though was that this team can be beat in a 7-game series, as the Pelicans gave them a run for their money, and that's obviously an extremely positive sign for this group of guys on the Mavs and everything they've built thus far this season to get to this point, as I truly think that they can pull off this series win. It will be difficult and it will need them to play some of their best basketball of this season, obviously, but it most certainly is possible, and I'll explain exactly why. Reason number one, in which I've already talked about, is Luka Doncic, as he's one of the best players in the NBA, and in my opinion, the best player in this series, and only getting better as the years go by, but he has the ability in any series that he plays in to dominate to the level where there's nothing you can do to stop him, and this level of play can most certainly win you a playoff series no matter who your opponent is. And second off, just like the Suns have Mikal Bridges to combat Luka, the Mavs have Finney-Smith to guard Devin Booker in this series, and he, just like Mikal, has the ability to shut him down as well. And as we saw in the Suns-Pelicans series, when Devin Booker was out of the lineup, the Suns were beatable and lost 2 games to a sub-40 win Pelicans team, so this can most certainly happen again if Finney-Smith can shut down Booker, as the Mavs were both a better offensive and defensive team compared to the Pelicans all season long and by a wide margin. I'm not sure who exactly they're going to have out there being the primary defender on Chris Paul, whether that be Jalen Brunson or Reggie Bullock, as it could be a variety of guys being thrown at him, but if the Mavs do a successful job at containing Booker and CP3, this is where the door opens for them, and they could very well capitalize on it. This offense runs through those two guys, as especially in this series with the task of guarding Luka the majority of the time, I'm not sure how much the Suns are willing to have Bridges create shots for himself offensively to conserve his energy and attention for his task to guard Luka, but Crowder and Ayton, as good of players as they are, since they do start on the regular season's best team, they don't have nearly the same ability offensively to create shots for them and the team, and I think the Mavs should try to let these players beat them if they want a shot at winning this series. Similar to what Boston did to Brooklyn, force the ball out of the opposing team's best players' hands, throwing multiple bodies at them to disrupt their rhythms, and practically do whatever it takes to force everyone but CP3 and Devin Booker to try and beat you. That's way easier said than done, being that this is one of the best backcourts in the league, but at the same time, the Mavericks are a strong defensive team and have proven that Jason Kidd will get ballsy at times and draw up creative defensive game plans like we saw last night, and this has resulted in them having the NBA's 7th best defensive rating. Offensively, Brunson is going to need to continue the efforts he displayed in round 1, and I think the last X factor that if the Mavs want a chance in this series will be Spencer Dinwiddie coming up huge for this team to prove that the trade that they made at the deadline was 100% absolutely worth it, and he has a career-defining series so the Mavericks can put the pressure on the Suns and potentially knock them out. Let me know what you guys think is going to give the Mavericks the best chance to win this series against the Suns down below in the comments. It's not going to be an easy task, but it most certainly can be attained if things go according to plan against this strong Phoenix Suns squad. As always, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all have a great night.